Hey guys, standing outside the Sydney IMAX at the moment where I just got done watching The Odyssey. So how the ticket came about was I was just looking through the online site and it was kind of a last minute ticket. It kind of popped up in a section that I seen as acceptable, and I ended up seeing in seat J4, which is a bit off to the side, but it's still kind of cool that I can say I've seen The Odyssey now in the original aspect ratio. Because for me, I did a video recently about the aspect ratio, about how Nolan's version is 1:43:1, which basically fills the whole screen. Now, the problem with that is that a lot of screens in usual cinema chains don't have the means to show a film in 1:43:1. So this is why I did a big video about aspect ratios and Nolan's intended version. Now, this IMAX behind me here does not have a film projector. This is laser projection. And it was good to see Nolan's actual framing. I can say now that with Nolan, I'm going to turn around here. Let's have a bit of a background with the city. It's a bit more nice than that. But with Nolan's intended version, I can say that with The Odyssey, you really are seeing a lot more image. Now, for something that might be cut down to 178:1 or even 185:1 for a digital showing, or even for a Blu-ray 4K, I could see it being framed a certain way where some top and bottom of the image might not be necessary. But there are scenes where you actually get the scale of what's happening, especially the scenes with... Okay, spoilers, I'm not going to go into too much, but I will tell you one thing about the scenes with Troy, about the fall of Troy, are freaking phenomenal. I mean, I kept picturing in my head Tom Cruise getting up during that scene and saying, "This is freaking awesome," or whatever. I pictured Tom Cruise in my head saying that. But man, what a absolute film that is at this IMAX. What an absolute spectacle. Now, the problem with this IMAX is, as I mentioned, no film projector. It does not have its film projector. It is not showing 1570 celluloid. This is showing laser projection. Now, do you notice resolution in this IMAX? I'm going to say you notice it could be more detail, but it doesn't hurt. It's definitely like, I don't know if it's an 8K or a 10K image. I don't know exactly the resolution of what's being shown in that IMAX, but it's definitely, it might even be a 4K image, but you definitely notice how the IMAX is showing it. You definitely notice that it is shot on film. It retains a lot of the film elements. So what's happened is Nolan, when he's transferred this for screening in laser, he's probably scanned the negative. He would have scanned the positive, I should say, and issued the print. But with the print would have been scanned and turned into digital form for these laser projectors. So would I have traveled to Melbourne to watch this movie? That's a hard one, because there's a part of me that says 1570 film would be a spectacle to see, but also it's the third biggest screen in the Southern Hemisphere at this point, this Sydney screen. It is only second to Melbourne, and I don't know where the first biggest screen in IMAX is in the world, but Melbourne has the second biggest. Sydney used to have the biggest. This used to be like 35 meters by 29 meters. They obviously shrunk it during building this whole thing. But for The Odyssey, I was sitting in J4, you do notice the neck strain. You're not looking so much up, you're looking a bit to the side and looking a tiny bit up, which when you have the back headrest, you don't really notice. I don't know how the people in front of the screen would have done, in front of like right down the front, looking upwards. But for me, you even notice like in J4, you do notice a bit of that neck strain because you are very much looking sort of somewhat upwards. But what a phenomenal experience. Like, watching The Odyssey, it's a spectacle. I do want to see it in 220:1, watching it at the Remake Ritz on 70mm film to see how the film elements deliver. And I do want to see it in general screen, possibly just normal 139:1, how it's being screened in general cinemas. Would I see it in digital IMAX at Blacktown in 190:1? Probably not, because I would probably just wait for Blu-ray at that point, which will probably be 178 or 185:1. I'll probably just wait for Blu-ray at that point. Would I come back here and watch it again? Likely, if there were tickets available. And it was convenient. I got this at the last minute. Now, I know Sydney IMAX have dropped new tickets. I know there are new sessions going right through September. I obviously was looking at the site because I was looking at getting one of those tickets, and I secured my ticket very last minute. I missed maybe the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie because I got it, rushed down here on the light rail and basically rushed in, and I don't think I missed much of the movie. Now, obviously, speeding and stuff, I don't think I missed much, and the parts that I did miss, I will likely pick up when I watch the release on Blu-ray or even at a later point. But watching a movie like that on an IMAX screen that's truly massive, it's an experience. I have watched The Dark Knight on that theater screen. I have watched The Dark Knight Rises. These are when they re-showed. They did Nolan Week when the cinema first opened, this IMAX. So I watched The Dark Knight on it. I've watched Dunkirk on it. I watched Interstellar on it. There's a few movies. I didn't watch Interstellar. What's it called? I didn't watch Inception on it, and because Inception wasn't really shot for IMAX. And I also didn't watch Batman Begins on it because that wasn't shot for IMAX. So I watched the IMAX scenes on it. But watching that on a 1570 capable screen, obviously it's not on 1570. It is shot 1570, but it is scanned and projected by laser. It's a great experience. People who are thinking about film projector versus the digital experience, and I'm not getting sponsored to say this. Nobody's giving me incentive to say this, but you can tell the film elements are there. They've scanned the film and it bleeds through. You can see the film elements. You can see the grain. And yeah, I think it's a rather good experience what I had in there. Would I have got a row closer and looked up at the screen? Probably not. Row J for me was very close. It was still very closer than I would have wanted to be, but it definitely was an experience. You definitely, not so much neck strain, more about, what's the word I'm trying to find here? It wasn't so much about neck strain, but experience. And I was watching the screen. There are scenes where you really feel the scale of the movie. And I really do hope Christopher Nolan does put it out on Blu-ray, the 1:43:1 aspect ratio. I'm really hoping that comes out on Blu-ray 4K. I don't know if he'll do it on digital, but I really do hope that comes out on Blu-ray 4K. And I think there is some sort of level of hope that it would happen. But also, that was an experience. That IMAX was an experience. That was really a phenomenal experience. I don't know how else to say it. It's phenomenal. And so I've finally seen The Odyssey now. So yeah, the one I couldn't get a ticket for, I literally got a ticket because I'm filming this on Friday. I just got out of the movies. I filmed my other video the day before, so I'm not going to post this for a couple of days. But I literally secured a ticket the next day. Pretty funny. But anyways, what a great city I live in right here. Sydney is phenomenal. I still stand by the fact that we do need a second IMAX. And I did make a mistake in my original video. I believed the capacity of the original IMAX before it was torn down was 1,000 somewhat. The original big theater was about 530, I believe. But I'm talking about the scale between the two theaters. I believe it was 1,000 overall. So I'm just clarifying that. This cinema in here holds about 430. And it's phenomenal. I keep saying it's phenomenal. But as I said, I could picture myself being in Tom Cruise's shoes in there saying, this movie is effing awesome. And I'm going to be buying it on 4K. That's all I got to say. It's phenomenal. But anyways, guys, I'll put a few end screens. Watch these videos. I'll put up in the top screen here the video I did yesterday, and then I'll put a couple more. Yeah, great movie. Nolan knows what he's doing. Nolan knows what he's doing. And I don't know, I want to see more from what Nolan does. I want to see more Nolan IMAX ratio shots on 4K Blu-ray. And I hope, I'm holding out hope. Peace, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. IMAX.